We're in the Walla Walla Mountain View Cemetery, standing where the babies' graves are from the 40s and the 50s. It's amazing to see how many children all died at the same area, same era is what I'm trying to say. Right now, we have a 1950. We have 1950, 1950, 1950, 1945. All of these babies need to have a voice in what Hanford has done. From this section we're standing back towards my car is all babies. Some of them do not have marked graves. My cousin was one, and I finally put a marker on her grave, and she is buried right there. When she was born, she was no bigger than fitting in a shoebox. Very tiny little girl. I was never allowed to see her because in those days I was too young. And I'm not sure what year it was, but I think it was 1948. And all of them here say 48, 49, 48, 48, 48. Here's one, 1955. Another one, 55, 56. We're talking the different areas of the Green Run. The Green Run happened more than once. Hanford only admitted to one time. But you can see all 48, 1948, 48, 1955. That was another Green Run. 1946, 2 days old. 47. This is what needs to be talked about. The children. The loss of what might have been. Our future that Hanford murdered. I wanted really people to see what our babies had to go through. I know in itself that quite a few of them were probably premature. How many of them were deformed? How many parents cried themselves to sleep at night because they didn't have their babies to wake? 1946, 46, 46. There's another one, 54. This area must be the 1950s, 4 and 55 area. We're back to 1945. It breaks your heart to know that there was so much sadness for these parents. So much they wanted and they were not allowed to have. So much future that was taken away from them because of a handful of men who decided to play God and took away our inheritance, our life, our hope. 62, 62, 62. There was a continuation of the Green Run in September of 1962. That was just prior to my pregnancy with my daughter, who was born in 1963. My daughter Jennifer is also buried here. My daughter had double club feet, probable dwarfism. She had other anomalies that the autopsy didn't report. She had tumors throughout her body, an enlarged liver, and died from a massive stroke which disintegrated her brain. She lived 15 hours, 40 minutes. How many other children like Jennifer are here? Like both Jennifers. How many is the same story? 1967, 1968, 1962, 1980. The list just goes on. And it doesn't even tell you about all the miscarriages and all the children that could have been, but were never allowed to be born. I myself had 4 miscarriages. There's no grave for them. There's nothing for them. There's no closure for a lot of these children because their parents don't understand what they did that was wrong. I myself believed that it was my fault that my children died. And it wasn't until I started waking up to the fact that it wasn't me, it was Hanford. Look at this beautiful baby. 1981. Here's another one. 1981 to 84. Beautiful children who died before they even got to live. My children are right over here. I talk about Jennifer because I know more about her birth and death than I do about Todd. But it's not because I love Todd less. These are my children. I don't have a picture of either one of them. Oh, I would dearly love to have their picture. Todd lived 36 hours. He didn't have outward anomalies on his body, and I wasn't strong enough at the time to go through an autopsy. I am so sorry I didn't, because it would answer a lot of things for me now. But these babies need to have a voice in what has happened to them and all the children that lay here like them. I took the guilt of these children on myself because I was their mother. They came from my heart and my soul. And for some reason I couldn't understand why I couldn't have my children live with me. I never believed that we were in a toxic area. This area was everything that was supposed to be good and right and clean and decent. And yet my children died. Todd weighed 3 pounds, 14 ounces. The only thing I know about him was that the placenta didn't develop properly to feed him. And so he was born like a premature baby, but he was full term. Jennifer, her birth was very traumatic. I had 31 hours of labor with her. Todd was cesarean. I hemorrhaged before I finally gave birth to her and filled my bed with blood. The doctor told me that when she was born, when the water broke, that it was green, foul smelling. And I didn't understand why something so toxic harmed her. When I first started researching into Hanford and what happened to my family, to find my truth for me, I learned that there are many baby cemeteries like this. Many children die needlessly. Many children had horrible births and deaths, like my Jennifer. It took her 2 hours, according to her autopsy, to die after she had her stroke. They never brought her to me so I could hold her or cradle her or love her. I wasn't even told until the following day she was dead. Her body had been removed, and I wasn't even told that she was cremated. I thought that she had been buried here, and that Todd joined her in her grave. And I found out after I started my search to find out my truth, what actually happened. She sat on the shelf of the mortuary for 4 years. And when Todd died, my sister-in-law found out what happened to her and placed them together in Todd's grave. I never knew that until I don't know, about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a big secret that was kept from me, from my whole family. And it was hard to come to terms with that. Everything that I had thought was true wasn't, and what was true I didn't know. So there's many stories like mine. Just a different town, just a different family, but always a baby that pays in the end for it. Jennifer was delivered by one of the very old doctors of Walla Walla. And I now know that the old doctors were in on the know with Hanford. And his very good buddy, his very church-going friend, Dr. Losi, is the one that did the experiments on the prisoners at Walla Walla. She was autopsied by the very same pathology lab that autopsied Hanford people. They would bring them over from Hanford, steal them away from the mortuaries over there, bring them to Walla Walla, have the pathology lab do their tests or take their body samples or parts, and take them back to Hanford or the Tri-City area without ever the family knowing. They were never informed, nor did they ever give their consent. That's the nuclear industry for Hanford. I don't know that my daughter's tissue samples may not be in the nuclear mausoleum, the transuranium complex that is housed in the Tri-Cities under the direction of Ron Catherine, who is associated with WSU Tri-Cities, Washington State University Tri-Cities. But the mausoleum itself is housed in Spokane. They have body parts, cadavers, fetuses. They have any kind of sample that you can imagine and more. That the nuclear industry took in the dead of night under cloak and dagger terms from all over the United States, from all over nuclear facilities. It goes on and on and on. And we better get out of here.